Good afternoon. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Community Development and Regulatory Services Committee for today, December 9th. I've been joined by council members Warsami, Reich, Fry, Quincy. Councilmember Kano will be joining us shortly. I just want to make a couple of announcements. The first Community Development Committee meeting of the new year is going to have to be moved due to quorum issues, and it looks like, just so folks know now, we'll be holding it on the 14th of January after Committee of the Whole, which likely will be around 11:30. So we would welcome reports that would have come in on the 6th at that time, and whatever items we need to take up, we'll hold it like a regular meeting. I also want to note that unfortunately, one of our long-term and very valued staff members, Wes Butler, is going to be leaving the city of Minneapolis coming up very soon. And Wes, you've touched so many projects over such a long period of time. It's a huge loss for us, but a gain for the state of Minnesota as you're becoming deputy commissioner in housing finance at the state. And we look forward to working with you as our partner. We'll be reading a resolution in your honor at the council meeting on the 20th. Just to note for CPED staff people. With that, then we'll start with our public hearing, starting with item number 1, which is a public hearing on Denord Craft Spirits. Mr. Wilson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We do have an application by Denord Craft Spirits, LLC. They intend to operate at 2610 East 32nd Street. They are seeking an on-sale liquor license Class C2 for a cocktail room. This is our first distillery cocktail room license that we've issued since the law changed this year. The C2 license allows live entertainment in this facility for up to 3 musicians. It is zoned I2. They will have interior seating for 96 and exterior seating for 25. They intend to be open Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 1 a.m. And this location was previously the Moto Primo motorcycle shop. The ownership in this is Chanel and Christopher Montana. Denord Craft Spirits will be using their cocktail room for the sale of drinks, samples, and entertainment to promote their distilled products. This license will be issued upon full completion of all building requirements at their site, which they're working on now. This license is subject to a public hearing. We mailed 120 notices to all residents and property owners within 600 feet of this establishment. We also notified the Longfellow Neighborhood Group and Business Association. We received one response from that notification. That one response was opposed, and it generally indicated they didn't want to hear noise from the live entertainment. Staff has reviewed this application. They seem to meet all of the requirements, and our recommendation is to approve.
Are there any questions for Mr. Wilson on item number 1? Seeing none, we'll open the public hearing on item number 1, which is a new business license for Denord Craft Spirits. Is there anyone here to speak to this issue? Please step forward, state your name and address for the record.
Good afternoon. My name is Mark Leader. We own the property directly to the south of the building that's in question. And as I welcome a new business owner to the neighborhood, our family's owned that property for well over 50 years. I've been there 42 years. I think I have a long history of knowing how the facility and the streets and the neighbors are going to react. The problem in that area, I have no problem with his business. I have a problem with the parking in the area. And I don't feel with the tap room and the musicians and the patrons and the staff that there is enough parking. If you look at the street right now, roughly there's about 7 parking spots directly on that block, and on their side of the street there's about 4 on ours. There's a bunch of curb cuts. There's a bunch of residential areas up towards Minnehaha. And what we're seeing, and especially with the hard winter we had last year, we're in a manufacturing distribution type area. All of a sudden we're seeing these cars to go that are parked there overnight. I have semi-trailer trucks that have been parking on 32nd Street. I occupy the entire block of Snelling as well. We have semi-trailer trucks parking there that the people who own them are in the residences up on Minnehaha. I've talked to traffic control, and they say they have the right to park there. With 3 musicians, the staff to run the distilling area, And from what I understand, and I don't know if this is going to be the future or not, but in that particular building now, I believe there's two other businesses. There's a baking business, and I believe there's also something to do with truck signage or coating on trucks or something. And if you look at the number of minimum people that are in each business as employees, and you look at the street parking, and it's not that big of a off-street parking, I feel that we're going to have a parking problem, and it's going to be difficult. And like I say, as a distribution and manufacturing area, no problem, but to bring in a whole bunch of new people, I feel that's going to be detrimental, and it's going to be tough. There's 2 bike lanes for traffic. When they stenciled those in this year, they cut probably 1 parking spot on the south side. In the last 10 years, they redid the rail crossing. They took a little more space from us there. The foundry up ahead of them going to the west, they have no street parking. And because they reconfigured the turning lane from Hiawatha to 32nd this year, there's no parking for the first 100 yards or so of that street. So I'm looking at a traffic crunch. I'm looking at a parking issue. We have tenancy as well. We have a building we'd like to rent that's for rent on 32nd Street now. And we think we'd like to have an equal shot at the parking spots, but I just don't feel there's enough parking there for this endeavor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. You should know that 4 parking spots are what's required, and they meet that requirement. Is there anyone else here to speak to this issue? Please step forward, state your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Chanel Montana, and I'm the applicant, and I just want to thank you for taking up our cocktail room license. We really appreciate it. We're very excited to be the second in the state to obtain this license from a city, but also the first in the Twin Cities area. My husband and I, we just wanted to give you a little bit of background on Denord, who we are, what we're about, and some of sort of the tenets of our business. My husband and I started Denord Craft Spirits about 1.5 years ago. We went through a very rigorous regulatory process with the federal government in order to obtain our federal distilling license. My husband is our head distiller, and I work on our marketing, communications, and additional business side of the business. So Chris is in the shop more than 9 to 5 and almost lives there now that we're a new business. We have been on the market since May of this year. And we have a vodka, L'Etoile de Nord vodka, and Fitzgerald gin. And all of our products and basically everything to do with our company is all about Minnesota. We use corn from my local, or from our family farm, from my father actually, to produce our gin and our vodka. We bring it into the city and we manufacture on-site, mill, mash, ferment, everything. So we really pride ourselves in knowing the entire process, knowing exactly what our spirit is, huge quality control, and using local products. We are Minnesota junkies, and so all of our products have a tie to Minnesota via the marketing, the theme, L'Etoile de Nord. We see that everywhere. It's our state motto. Fitzgerald gin. Fitzgerald's a well-known character here in the state. And we're very excited to have the cocktail room to give us the opportunity to really educate people on spirits. Same way that the tap rooms have been able to educate people on beer and to start an industry. Wineries have been able to educate consumers on wine. We're really looking forward to educating people on spirits and having that sort of be the next local wave coming in. Our cocktail room will be open mostly in the evenings, and it'll be a combination of both tours for the public to, again, increase that education, but then also the ability to sample, which the state gave us a couple of years ago, and then create a craft cocktail. We are a premium product, so we have a little bit higher price point, but still something manageable. But we are not the cheapest thing on the market, but we definitely are craft. We are producing a high quality premium artisan product. And that I think really is going to increase sort of it's gonna allow Denord to be a spot where the community can come, sit, have a cocktail. We can celebrate all of the things that we do well here in Minnesota. So we are really excited. We're open to take any questions. The building is getting redeveloped. There are a number of businesses. We're really excited to be part of that redevelopment for that space.
All right, thank you for your testimony. Did you want to add anything?
The only thing that I'll add is I want to thank this committee. I was here in front of you before, so we're obviously happy to be the first in the city, and a lot went into that. We've had certainly recently a lot of support from the mayor's office. Councilwoman Cano has been a great help to us. And also Julie Casey from alcohol licensing has kind of shepherded us through this entire process to the extent that it's useful for this body. To the previous speakers, not my wife, but the previous speakers' comments, we intend to be good neighbors. This is a neighborhood I grew up in. I went to high school about 4 blocks away from this place, Minneapolis South. And, we do have more than 10 off-street parking spots that are available to us. As far as staff for the actual distillery, right now I'm it. And so that shouldn't be a big problem. And to the degree that we ever do have any parking issues, we're certainly willing to work with anyone to mitigate that. But because we will be open and most people will be coming to us after business hours, we hope that there shouldn't be much of a parking problem.
Thank you for your testimony. Is there anyone else here to speak to this issue? Anyone? Anyone? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing and call on Councilmember Cano because it's in her ward. She rarely gets the chance to do this.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. I would actually like to go last so I can move this item forward. So if somebody else wants to speak first, please do so.
Councilmember Frye.
Well, my question was really unrelated. I don't know if you're aware we're going through a budget hearings right now, which at times can cause a lot of tension. So if there's actually alcohol in either of those 2 bottles, if I can just meet you in the back afterwards, that'd be great. Yeah.
Councilmember Cano.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that I've been so impressed by the hard work and due diligence that both of the business owners here have put forward. We toured their facilities early on this year. I remember going to an event that Representative Jim Davney organized there at your location. So everyone's anxiously awaiting for the opening. And they've been really active business owners who came to Mayor Hodges' business listening session where we got to connect again and talk about some of the ways that the city could support a small business like them to thrive. And I thank a lot of the CPED staff who were willing to work with this business and really get down into the details of helping them to move along in the process. So I'm just really proud to be a part of this historic opening, and I'm looking forward to being there on site. So with that, I would just like to move this item forward.
Approval has been moved by Councilmember Cano. Are there further comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That item is approved. Thank you for being here today. We'll move on to item number 2. Mr. Wilson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have an application by Hoban Korean Barbecue, LLC, for an on-sale liquor license with Sunday sales, Class E, which means no live entertainment. They want to locate at 2939 Hennepin Avenue, and they will be a full-service restaurant. They will have interior seating for 138 persons and wish to be open from 4 p.m. to 2 a.m. daily. The 2 owners are Eugene Lim and Young Lim, and the applicants currently own and operate the Hoban Korean Barbecue in Eagan, Minnesota. So they have experience. They've operated there since 1994. A public hearing is required. We sent 282 notices to property owners and residents within 600 feet. We also notified the Lowry Hill East Neighborhood Group, the Lake Street Council, and the Uptown Business Association. We received no comment for or against this application from that notification process. They meet all of our requirements, and staff's recommendation is to approve.
Are there any questions for Mr. Wilson on item number 2? Councilmember Quincy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick question as I'm looking at the business plan operations. I see their hours of operation are 4 p.m. to 2 p.m. Is that a typo or am I confused? Or did they go?
Madam Chair, it appears there's a typo there. They want to be open from 4 p.m. to 2 a.m. daily.
Thank you.
Other questions for Mr. Wilson? Seeing none, we'll open the public hearing on item number 2, which is a new business license for Hoban Korean Barbecue. Is anyone here to speak to this issue? Anyone? Anyone? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Councilmember Frye.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move approval of this item.
Approval of item number 2 has been moved. Further comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That item is approved. Item number 3, the seating requirement for liquor establishments ordinance change. Mr. Wilson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have an ordinance amendment of 3 chapters of the liquor code to change one thing, and that change will lower the minimum seating requirements in on-sale liquor establishments from 50 seats to 25 seats. The state of Minnesota liquor laws formerly had a 50-seat minimum size. However, that was amended to allow cities to determine the minimum size. This will place our minimum seating the same at 25 seats for all on-sale alcoholic beverages licenses. Currently, all on-sale wine licenses, for example, have to have a minimum of 25 seats. This is a positive modernization of our liquor ordinance and will help small restaurants. Public hearing notices were sent to all beverage alcohol license holders, all business associations and neighborhood associations, placed on our website. We received one response, and that was in support. Staff recommends approval of all 3 amendments.
Are there any questions for Mr. Wilson on item number 3? Seeing none, I'll open the public hearing on item number 3, which is a change to our ordinance seating requirement for liquor establishments. Is there anyone here to speak to this issue? Please state your name and address for the record.
Good afternoon. My name is Tyrone Folliard Olson. I am a resident of Northeast Minneapolis, and also I work in Northeast Minneapolis in the Sheridan neighborhood. I'm general counsel for a food production facility over there where we have companies such as Red Table Meat Company, the Lone Grazer Creamery, a couple other things going on there. When we first moved into the neighborhood, I started meeting with the Sheridan Neighborhood Organization on a monthly basis and just kind of really wanted to have some community engagement with what we were doing there, have a lot of transparency and also feedback from them. One of the things that we started hearing from the very beginning was that they really wanted the ability to go into our building and purchase some of the products that we were creating there, and that they also wanted to have a restaurant, another small local restaurant in there. So we've got a small space in there that would be perfect for a restaurant. We started meeting with some local restaurateurs, and I'm very happy to say that we are moving forward with a deli and restaurant concept. This concept will revolve around utilizing the products that we have being produced in our building, along with some other locally sourced products. One thing that we really want to do is have local beers in there. Obviously, we have so many phenomenal local beers. We also have a lot of, as we heard today, upcoming liquor that's going on in our community. And one of the products that my company had created and grown is Two Gingers Irish Whiskey. So we have a great desire to have Two Gingers in there. However, the space for the restaurant is such that we could only get about 40 seats in there with everything else that we need to fit in there. And so we really have this conundrum where we want to have this restaurant, but we're so limited by size. So I met with Councilmember Fry, who's been a huge supporter of all of our various ventures. And as a result of that, you have the amendment in front of you, and I would respectfully ask that you please support this change.
Thank you for your testimony. Is there anyone else here to speak to this issue? Anyone? Anyone? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Councilmember Fry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple quick comments before I move this item. First, Tyrone Folliard has been extremely involved in the community. Every single neighborhood association meeting that I've been to and shared, and he's been there. He's contributed, and not just contributing with self-interest in mind. I mean, he's really looking after the overall neighborhood. So, Tyrone, thank you for that. You've been a great neighbor. Secondly, this is really a common sense change, bringing it from 50 down to 25. Not only does it enable sort of the food and liquor co-op model to function better and more successfully, I think it also brings us more in line with what a lot of other cities are and have been doing for quite some time. You know, if you go to New York City to a deli or a restaurant, you know, a lot of times the square footage of those facilities are dramatically smaller than the square footage that we have in Minneapolis. And because of that, one, you allow the rents to be lower, so small local businesses are better able to take hold. And two, at times you can disable a lot of the franchises from coming in and setting up their boilerplate. So this is a smart move. There's no reason why we can't have really cool 25 and 30 seaters that now hopefully will be able to have a liquor license. So I move approval of this item.
Approval has been moved. Further comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item is approved. Thank you for being here today. We'll then move on to the consent agenda. The consent agenda is items 4 through 8. It includes our regular license applications, a continuation of the parking operations on Parcel A, negotiating and executing contracts for our BTAB program, accepting grants from livable communities, and the classification of tax forfeited land. Are there any items anyone would like to pull off for discussion, items 4 through 8? Seeing none, I'll move the consent agenda, items 4 through 8. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Those items are approved. We'll then move on to our discussion agenda, starting with item number 9, which has to do with Clare Housing. Mr. O'Toole, welcome.
Thank you, committee members. I'm bringing a request for council action to authorize a cooperative agreement between the City of Minneapolis and the City of Robbinsdale to facilitate the Minneapolis HOPA grant to Clare Housing for construction of Clare Terrace in Robbinsdale. Chuck Peterson from Clare Housing in Minneapolis is here to speak to any questions as well as I can answer the questions.
So, Mr. O'Toole, why don't you explain to those who don't understand why we would be providing funding to a project not in the City of Minneapolis and how the HOPA allocations work and our responsibility in the region?
Sure. The City of Minneapolis gets HUD Consolidated Plan Programming, including CDBG, Home, HOPWA, and ESG. HOPWA is unique in that we have to provide, as the largest city in the metro area, and the largest city or the city with the largest most cases of HIV/AIDS in the metro area, we have to provide HOPWA. We have to identify the needs and provide the HOPWA services for the whole metropolitan area, which includes 11 counties plus 2 counties in Wisconsin. So we have a Minnesota HIV Housing Coalition, which advises the city, and we do an RFP every year, which determines the need just based on advertising the funds. And in 2013, in this case, Clare Housing applied for funding for 2 sites, one in Northeast Minneapolis, Marshall Flats, which the city is working on, and one in Robbinsdale. And because Robbinsdale is another city, and within the metropolitan area, it is eligible for funding.
Great. Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. O'Toole? Mr. Peterson, did you want to say something?
I just wanted to extend my thanks to the committee for Clare Housing supporting us and HOPWA grant. HOPWA is a vital source of funding for Clare Housing, both on the service side and on the development side. And as Peter mentioned, $100,000 is going to Clare Terrace in Robbinsdale, and I'm sure I'll be back hopefully in another year to authorize the remaining $100,000 for Marshall Flats in Northeast, which I've worked closely with Councilmember Reich on as well. So just want to thank you for that support, and happy to answer any other questions you may have.
Are there any questions for Mr. Peterson? No, seeing none, thank you for being here today. Yep. I'll go ahead and move approval of the staff recommendation, and just, note to Myron Orfield, we're willing to put money for the poorest of the poor into suburbs when they're willing to take projects like this, and Clare is willing to do so, but we would be happy to have another Clare project in Minneapolis and fund it out of our HOPWA allocation. On the motion to approve the staff recommendation, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That item is approved. We'll then move on to item number 10, our town program. I don't know if this is being introduced by staff or not. I guess not. So we'll invite Mr. Hokup to come and talk to us about your latest amazing endeavor.
Thank you, Madam Chair, committee members. My name is Tom Hoke, and I'm the president of Hennepin Theater Trust. And with me today is Naomi Pesky, who is our Vice President of External Relations, and Joan Vorderbruggen, who is our Cultural District Arts Coordinator. The process that we're in is that the NEA, one of their programs is the Our Town program, and as a requirement of that program, the city partners with an arts organization, and the arts organization makes the application but must have the city as a partner, and so only one application can come from each city. So the city has a competitive process that they set up, and well, we won, mostly because we were the only application, but nevertheless, think what you may. So we're actually really excited though, because we put forth our best effort in this, and we think it is one that is very fundable by the NEA. So I thought maybe I would just give you just a little bit of context so that you know kind of what we're doing and how this fits together. As you know, we are, can you hear me if I'm over here? Is this okay? I don't know how else to do this. Okay, thank you. So anyway, as you know, we have a cultural district, and we define that as a walkable center of arts, culture, and economic activity. The City Council approved this in February of 2013, and it is an area that spans from the Mississippi Riverfront to the Walker Arts Center, Nicollet Mall, over to First Avenue. Okay, we have there are many short-term goals contained in the plan that the city approved. 4 of them are germane to this conversation: to create a cultural district brand, to create a no vacancy project, investing in distinctive public art, and creating more visual stimulation. Okay, in terms of creating a cultural district plan, we are very close to wrapping up our efforts with Target Corporation on the development of a brand, because a cultural district is what it is, not necessarily what it should be called. Next, as you may know, we are working on a no vacancy project, and that has, that has become known as Made Here, the storefront initiative. So we have just unveiled the most recent edition of that. We've had 3 distinct installations. This showcase, and I was looking at the distillery, and I'm thinking, all I could think about was Made Here, and we need to figure out how we're going to connect with them. So anyway, the showcases are curated by a panel of artists. We have 17 artists that work with Joan Vorderbruggen to select all of the art that goes into the windows. And we go ahead, Hennepin Theater Trust, we go out, we find the property owners, we find the vacant windows, we execute the license agreement, we provide the insurance, and we provide a stipend to the artists thanks to the McKnight Foundation. To date, we have done 105 showcases since we started on Blocky, and here's just a sample of what those look like today. This is Brilliance. This is our current installation. It has everything to do with light and bright and sparkly downtown during the dark winter months. Another effort investing in distinctive public art, we do have are in the process of, we hope, securing funds from ArtPlace. And this is a project that we call Tunnel Vision. As you may know, there is an underpass down by the Basilica that kind of cuts off the Walker and the sculpture garden from the rest of downtown. So this would be a very direct and visual way to connect those two, and it could be a piece of art. So creating more visual stimulation. The project that we are proposing to the NEA is called Curb Appeal. And as you know, this is one that the city of Minneapolis would partner with us on. The idea is artists created crosswalks all along Hennepin Avenue that would improve the appearance, foster public engagement in the artistic process, and draw pedestrian traffic. Here's just a couple of suggestions of what it might look like. Okay, and the proposal is really for 38 artist-designed Hennepin Avenue crosswalks from the Walker, as I said, to the river. It'll drive, anticipation and public engagement. The idea is that we would do this, install it over the course of the summer 2016, and do a few blocks at a time on Sunday mornings. And have a variety of activities that go on around that. So over the course of the summer, people would develop a sense about coming downtown on a Sunday morning to participate in this. Safety is central. We are really thrilled to be partnering with Public Works to ensure that this project meets all these city requirements. Public Works will be involved in both the constructing the open call to artists. They will have a seat at the table to select the winning designs and will coordinate with us on the installation. We also think it's a safety issue. It's going to pull together the 2 sides of Hennepin Avenue and also more clearly demarcate where people should be crossing the street. So we think we'll be developing a robust process for the artist selection. We'll have a programming strategy that engages adjacent property owners in each of those installations on those Sunday mornings. And of course, we'll have a marketing and community engagement strategy. Happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. Are there any questions for Mr. Hoke? I just want to note, it almost reminds me of a continuation of the very first work we started with the utility box wraps, which also started on Hennepin Avenue, and the replicability of this in other parts of town. So when we started this on Hennepin, no one did these utility wraps. Now they're all over. Curb Appeal also has the ability to go broader, and even the cultural district itself. The cultural district model is one potentially that could be used in Councilmember Cano's ward, especially if you add a really great kind of multi-ethnic flair to it, and it could be its own thing somewhere else. And so I've encouraged her to chat with you about how this potentially pieces or larger pieces of it could be replicated in neighborhoods. I mean, it's hard to do downtown with all of the support of the business community and property owners. So I can imagine in a commercial area in the neighborhoods, it might be a difficult thing. They shouldn't have to reinvent the wheel, but use the good work you've already done.
Absolutely, and we're happy to be, the experiment for Public Works on this and work with them, work out all the kinks. I'm happy to say that with the most recent installations made here, 47% of the artists are artists of color. So we're very happy about that.
I just think this is amazing. As you know, I've owned property on Hennepin Avenue for 20 years, and every little bit helps in terms of doing something to make the avenue more pedestrian friendly and more friendly for shop owners and visitors. And we have a long history of trying to change things on Hennepin. This is another great step in the right direction. Congratulations. We're hopeful that you'll be able to secure the grant.
Thank you.
Are there further comments or questions? Seeing none, I'm going to thank Mr. Hoke for partnering and move approval of authorizing the Hennepin Theater Trust to apply for the out-of-town grant with the full support of the city of Minneapolis. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item is approved, and we'll move on. Thank you for being here today. Thank you, Joan, for all of your work. Your current exhibit is just, it's brilliant. We'll then move on to our remaining item, which is item number 11. This is the MOU with the Minneapolis Park and Recreation Board for the leaseback of East Downtown Commons. Mr. Mercer, welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, committee members. My name is Miles Mercer. I'm in the Business Development Group at CPED, and I am part of the staff team that's working on the development of the Commons. The Commons will be the 1 2/3 block of public gathering green space that is part of the Downtown East project. And today we are asking you to authorize the city staff to execute a memorandum of understanding with the Minneapolis Park and Recreation Board related to the conveyance and leaseback of the Commons property. Some quick background. Under existing agreements for the Downtown East project, the city will take ownership of the Commons property from Ryan Companies, they own it now, by July 1st, 2016. Ryan will deliver to the city a cleared site with certain basic improvements. The financing for this work and acquisition is in place. So why do we need this MOU? Well, given the park-like qualities of the Commons, there has been discussion about the jurisdictional roles of the city and the Minneapolis Park Board. This MOU establishes a framework for the city and the Park Board to cooperate in the ownership and operations of the Commons in a way that promotes the public interest and is compliant with state law and the city charter. So what does the MOU say? Well, first, after the city gets the property from Ryan, the city will transfer fee title of the property to the Park Board at no cost. At the same time, the Park Board will lease back the property to the city for 30 to 50 years with no rent. The Park Board will have no financial obligation for the Commons during the term of this lease. At the end of the lease, the city surrenders the property back to the Park Board for use as a park. City and Park Board staff will collaborate during the design process by including Park Board staff on the technical advisory committee for the project. The design process will engage the community and involve multiple public meetings that will be publicized. Enhancements, if any, to the Commons continue to be contingent on the availability of funding. The city has the right to sublease the Commons and to contract with a conservancy, such as potentially to the new Greening Downtown Minneapolis nonprofit. If the city chooses that model, the city will require that the Park Board have representation on the board of that organization. Madam Chair, staff recommends approval of this item.
Are there any questions for Mr. Mercer? I'll note that Ms. Siegel is here as well. Is there anyone who has a question for Mr. Mercer about the terms of the MOU? Everyone sounds really excited about it. We'll thank Council President Ostro for putting us in this position. Councilmember Frye.
I actually am really excited about this. Thank God we're at this point right now. There has been enough bad press about what's going on in the Commons/yard, about how it's an entire cluster. What people are really witnessing right now is the sausage being made. But I think this step sort of shows that regardless of people witnessing the sausage being made, we're actually right on track right now. We've got an MOU signed. The foundation in terms of legal ownership and fee title is clear. And in the very near future, we will be selecting the designer that will create the ultimate vision for that space. So we're right on track. Things are going really well, and I just wanted to thank you, Miles, Susan Siegel, Chuck Lutz, and Spencer Kronk. I wish the press were here right now to congratulate you guys. Where are you?
Peter's here.
Oh, I didn't see you. Well, this is for you. I'm glad you're here to congratulate these guys because, it has been, there have been a lot of moving parts getting to this point, but we're right on track. So thank you.
Would you like to move approval?
I would. I would like to move approval of this item.
Approval has been moved by Councilmember Fry. Further comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That item is approved. Seeing no further business before us, we are adjourned, and we'll see you all in January.